Good to see everybody here tonight. Anybody have any announcements?
Talked to Justin this morning, and he just said that his grandfather had not made the progress that they were hoping.
Okay. They are in Kentucky right now. Is that where they're at?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That was just oh, I got that one.
They were gonna take it off of
Do what now? I didn't hear all that.
Trying to see if he could breathe on his own.
Okay. Okay. Where's the several going to go this weekend for an outing or whatever you want to call it? Where's it at? It's around Oklahoma City somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, keep them in your prayers because they're going to all be traveling and be there 2 or 3 days. Any other announcements?
everything goes well. I'll have another great grandchild tomorrow.
You're going to have another tomorrow if everything goes good.
To the hospital this evening.
Okay.
So Jen and I plan to go up there first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Maybe in the middle of the night if she calls us.
Okay. What about the one that's, he's asked, what about the one that that they said he had cancer?
He had cancer all through his body.
Oh, that's, okay.
He's even got one that come up in his brain.
Okay, he got it everywhere. He got it everywhere.
Yes,
Uh,
it's just, but now they say it's not in any of his organs. I
Okay,
don't know what that means exactly.
okay,
And if he's doing okay, then maybe let him go home for 3 or 4 days to see it.
okay. August the 4th, we'll have a breakfast for everybody before services. We'll also will sing happy birthday to Olivia. It's her birthday. I think she planned it for just to be on her birthday. I think she done it on purpose. Yes, sir. She's expecting a birthday present, what she's expecting first, and then she's going to expect the baby. Well, I kind of noticed that, but I didn't. I'm too good to. I wasn't going to say anything. My wife has taught me better than that. Your wife needs to teach you a little better, I think.
She gave up on that a long time ago.
You won't ever say anything about a woman gaining weight because you don't know for sure
One thing about it,
if what's causing it. Yes, sir.
one thing about it, you can say that nothing gets past Leland.
Yeah, nothing gets past Leland. Yeah,
Sharp.
in case there's anybody in the county that don't know it, Bertha happened to be in the hospital down there at a Monday, I believe it was, wasn't it? Monday?
Yeah.
Huh?
Monday.
At Mercy Hospital. And she says she wasn't the cause of it, but they locked the whole hospital down for about 4 hours. And she couldn't come home. Well, the guy had a plastic gun, I think. But anyway, they
They had Bertha surrounded.
had Bertha surrounded, had her locked up in the room, wouldn't let her out. That's the story I've been spreading. But anyway, she was safe. Lots of people was thought, as soon as the word got out that you was in there, we'd all worried about you. So, but anyway, any other announcements? We are in Genesis chapter 15. Abraham is promised a son. It says, after these things, which the previous things, remember he rescued Lot from being captive. Last week we studied. Here we have the Lord came to Abraham in a vision. I'm just saying Abraham because I'm so used to saying it, in a vision, saying, "Do not fear, Abraham, for I am a shield to you. Your reward shall be very great." Abraham said, "O Lord God, what will you give me, since I am childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus?" And Abram said, "Since you have given no offspring to me, one born in my house is my heir." Then behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, "This man will not be your heir, but one who will come forth from your own body, he shall be your heir." And it says he took him outside and he showed him all the stars. We talked about this last week, about all the stars in heaven. He said, "Your descendants will be just like this." Said, "Try to count them if you can." Verse 6 says, "Then he believed in the Lord, and he reckoned it to him as righteousness. And he said to him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to possess it." He said, "O Lord God, how may I know that I will possess it?" So God tells Abraham to bring some animals for sacrifices. And it goes about how he cuts them down, cuts them apart, and he leaves them there for the Lord to set on fire. And then God causes a great sleep or darkness, it says, to fall upon Abraham, and then he shows him all the things, or a lot of the things that are going to happen. You're going to have lots of descendants. They're going to be in slavery for 400 years. But I'll get them out. And they are going to possess this land. Yes, sir.
400 years.
That's what it said.
If you ask everybody in here, we would all say 400 years.
Yes.
But if you get over later, it gives a different number.
Okay.
430.
430, okay.
Correct?
Well, God might have been rounding off right here, you reckon? I don't know. But here it says 400 years. You're right. It says 400 years. Later on it says 400. And I have seen those who have argued that it couldn't have been that long, by who's ascended to who and what have you. But they were in slavery for quite a while.
Now, any idea, I'm clueless, any idea how long they were visitors before they were enslaved? I know that Jacob was gone and forgotten.
Jacob was gone and forgotten, and it says then a Pharaoh come up that he didn't know Joseph and and couldn't care, didn't care evidently. And so he decided, well, look at all them people, they're just, all of them, and why are we letting them have this land? Let's just make them all slaves. And they had the army to do it with. But how long it was between Joseph and slavery, I don't know.
It would have to be longer than that 30-year period.
Yes. It would have to be a very long time. I would say it had to be at least 100 years, but then that's just a guess. That's a total guess.
Just wondering.
But yeah, you're right. Here it says 400. Later on it says 430 years, and that may include some different additions that God's not including right here. I don't know. But anyway, it was around 400 years that they were enslaved. But he says, I'm going to bring them out. I'm going to show all kinds of powers and wonders. I will punish the nation that enslaves them. And then I'm going to give them this land that you're sitting on. Remember, Abraham is still, he's still worried about this. God's caused him to move. Wish we had a map. He's moved hundreds of miles in his lifetime to a land God said, I'm going to give it to you and your descendants. Here he's in his 80s, and he still doesn't have any kids. And he's moved hundreds of miles. So only thing, it's just a custom. Well, if you don't have any kids, give it to the oldest one is born in your house, the oldest servant's kid. Somebody born in my house. And that's what this near names somebody named Eleazar. That's the way I pronounce it. Maybe Eliezer. But anyway, he could take, because he's the oldest one that's been born in my house. But God said, no, it's gonna be your kid. Said in the fourth generation they will return here, for the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet complete. It came about when the sun had set that it was very dark, and behold, there appeared a smoking oven and a flaming torch which passed between these pieces. And on that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, to your descendants I have given this land, from the river of Egypt as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenite, the Kenizzite, and the Cadmonite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Rephaim, and the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Girgashite, and the Jebusite. That's the closest I can get on those names. There's no Joneses or Smiths in that deal, is there?
Now, was it Joshua's failure, children of Israel's failure, that prevented them from possessing the land from the Nile to the Euphrates?
Well, some of them they run them plumb out, and others they decided to make them servants, if you will. Y'all pay taxes, and I don't really. They just didn't like. They got enough. Seemed like they got enough for the suit them while they just kind of quit.
Yeah, they just obeyed God. They were supposed to.
Yeah.
Run them all out.
Yeah, they're supposed to. That was the deal that God made. We just run them all out.
Well, not run them out,
Kill them.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, though. Eliminate them.
but I don't think it got near
No.
Euphrates.
No.
That's back over towards where Babylon winds up being.
Yes, that's the part. That's where Abraham came from to start out with.
They actually wind up in pretty small sliver.
Like I say, we don't have a map in here, but it's a long ways from Ur, especially the way they went, to get from there to the land of Canaan, because they follow the river. And they go up and they stay there till his father dies, and they name that town or that area after, I believe his brother. It's either brother or his dad. It's called Haran. And anyway, then they leave after the father died. Then they leave there and go down, following Jordan River down to where they're at. But they follow the river. Then instead of going across country, across all that desert place.
That area that God promises Abraham is referred to in history as the Fertile Crescent.
Yes.
It was probably lush back then.
Well, if you follow that rivers,
Goes up and,
it would be a crescent, and it would be all be fertile.
Flowed with milk and honey.
Flowed with milk and honey, it said. But you have to follow the Jordan River all the way up to the, that sea. It's escaping me. Sea of Galilee, and then you go going up to the Euphrates, where it hooks into the Euphrates River, goes all the way down to where Ur was, and out to that particular ocean. That would be a crescent, and then it would all be fertile. It'd all be river bottom land.
I think Euphrates dumped into the Persian Gulf.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you get, like in Iraq and that whole territory, you can get water to do
Yeah,
I mean, there's palm groves and it's just lush green, as long as you can get water to
as
it.
long as you get water to it. Well, that's the way, I read a deal about Egypt one time, and they said I think it's like 12 miles on either side of the Nile River, which is close enough to irrigate. It's just lush and green, and after that, it's just desert because it don't ever rain, or very seldom rains.
Whole lot like the valley of Central California.
Yes. Yeah, they were all just sand until somebody decided to let's hook in all this water that they had going down through their levees and canals and what have you. Chapter 16, Sarah and Hagar. Now Sarah, Abram's wife, had borne him no children, and she had an Egyptian maid whose name was Hagar. So Sarah had said to Abram, "Now behold, the Lord has prevented me from bearing children. Please go into my maid. Perhaps I will obtain children through her." And Abram listened to the voice of Sarah. After Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, Abram's wife Sarah took Hagar the Egyptian, her maid, and gave her to her husband Abram as his wife. He went into Hagar, and she conceived, and when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her sight. Here we have Abraham and Sarah decided they're going to help God out. Did you have a question on that, Sally? Leland told me you had a comment to make about that. No, okay. He wanted you to? Well, go ahead. We're all friends here. We can.
She'll tell him when she gets him home.
Yeah, when she gets, maybe not wait till get, make it when he gets the car.
You think that God punished Ishmael's line because Sarah asked the handmaid to do what she did instead of God telling her to do that?
Well, God had made the promise to Abraham and Sarah, not to Abraham and Hagar. But now he makes Ishmael into a great nation. In fact, if you go way on down to there's as many tribes come from him as they do come from or more that comes from Isaac. And they're, and this they've all been fussing and fighting
I mean, yeah,
ever since then.
They hated the Jews ever since.
Do what now?
They hated the Jews ever since.
Yes. And that's one of the controversy. Well, we're descendants of Abraham. Well, God gave us land. God didn't give it to all of Abraham's seed, just to the seed of it between him and Sarah. But yes, they've been fighting over that little strip of land ever since then.
Well, look at verse 12.
He will be a wild donkey of man. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand will be against him. And he will live to the east of all his brothers.
pretty much describes the Muslim nation.
Yes.
To the entire world.
But this is a long time before they become Muslims. But anyway,
Well, I know it, but
yeah, that's not the.
Descendant,
Huh?
the descendant.
Yeah, but they are descendants of these people right here. Yes. So anyway, Sarah conceives, and then what does she do? She goes, huh?
Hagar.
I mean Hagar conceived. Excuse me. I know who I'm talking about. I got the wrong name and didn't come out right. What does Hagar do once she conceives the child?
Start acting haughty.
Huh?
She started acting a little haughty.
Yeah. Poking fun. Ha ha, look at you and look at me. I'm knowing my son, my child's going to be the heir, not yours, because I've got one coming on, see?
Now, what of verse 5?
And Sarah said to Abram, may the wrong done me be upon you. Well, she's the one thought it up the way it looks, wasn't it? I gave my maid into your arms, but when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her sight. May the Lord judge between you and me. In other words, you've done me wrong, but he did exactly what she told him to or asked him to. But now you've done me wrong. But Abram said to Sarah, behold, your maid is in your power to do to her what is good in your sight. So Sarah treated her harshly, and she fled from her presence. You know, if you was a slave, you had absolutely no rights of any kind. You know, they could be mean to you, they could beat you, they could kill you, and it was just whatever they decided to do. They owned you. They owned you. Verse 7, the angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, by the spring on the way to Shur. He said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, why have you come? Where have you come from, and where are you going? She said, I am fleeing from the presence of my mistress Sarah. Then the angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit yourself to her authority. Moreover, the Lord said to her, I will greatly multiply your descendants so that they will be too many to count. In other words, go back and act like a servant's supposed to act, and you know, I'm still going to bless you. Your descendants will be so many you can't count them. And then she goes on, the angel goes on and tells her that you're with child, you'll bear a son, and you're going to call his name Ishmael. Then we done read the verses where it says he'll be a donkey, a man, he's going to be wild, he's going to be against everybody else, and everybody is going to be against him. And they still are, basically. So then she called the name of the Lord who spoke to her, you are a God who sees, for she said, have I even remained alive here after seeing him? Therefore the well was called, and I really don't know how to pronounce that name. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to him. So he got a well there. How old is Abraham whenever Isaac's born? 100 years old. 100 years old. Any question on chapter 16? He did. Now, Abraham thought he was too old to have kids. He got this one at 86 years old. And then Isaac is born when he's 100 years old. After Sarah dies, who does he marry? A woman named Keturah.
She was from Ethiopia, wasn't
Huh?
she? Was she Ethiopian?
That part I don't remember. But her name was Keturah. I remember that in the original Star Trek shows. That's what kind of, that name sticks in my mind. How many sons does he have with Keturah? 6. So, huh?
In Numbers, it does say that she was Ethiopian. Is Aaron and, Myrna, or Aaron's wife?
No, that's Moses' wife.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
She was Ethiopian. She was a Cushite woman, according to the Old King James. She was Ethiopian, yes. So she would definitely would have been very dark complected. That's the one. I think that's the reason they protested her coming, because it was a racial thing. Yeah. So he did live these to be brothers because he had, besides Isaac, he had 6 more. If you go, you'll find Abraham lived, I think it was 157 or was it 175. I get those numbers. 175. But all of them showed up to help bury him. So he did have several sons. But they all came about when God got ready for him to. As far as Isaac was concerned. These others were just on his own. Our time's about up. Why don't we stop right there, and next week will be the 31st of August, I believe it is. And we'll start there on chapter 17.